A very good afternoon to you. It is time for News Deck with me, Linda Alela. Welcome on board as I take you through what is happening on matters and news all the way to around 1:30. So we will start off right here in the country, and the leaders are led by, sorry, this is a different story. Let me pick this one. Yes, on matters politics in the country. Yes, of course, Western leaders are coming on board to see to either they can take the Kakamega unity or not the Kakamega, the LUHYA unity, as Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, Devolution CS Eugene Wamalu, among others, are in the meeting, include, of course, Health CS Rashid Aman and other senior government officials. The leaders addressed the media a few minutes ago, and let's take a look at that.
And they are not moving. So we wanted to engage, we have come here to engage the executive to see how these projects can be progressed. Secondly, there are new projects that we intend to undertake in that particular region. And we wanted, since the new budget is starting from 1st July, we wanted to know what is in there for the region so that we are able also to follow. And thirdly, the most critical issue was actual agriculture. As you know, the economy of that region depends on agriculture. And that's why you see the CS agriculture here, and I think he has expanded very well on the issues that we looked at. Then lastly, we had floods in that particular region. The floods displaced quite a number of families, and we wanted to know where we can fit as a region in the economic recovery fund, the 53 billion Kenya shillings that was announced by the president last month. And lastly, the government had promised to start 2 factories. In Western, the granite factory, in Vihiga, and the gold factory in Kakamega. These are very critical factories that was promised by the government, and we wanted to know also when these particular factories are going to commence. We have had a very fruitful meeting, and of course, being the first meeting, we could not clear everything, and we have agreed now to have a further meeting in July, and that time that particular meeting will now be in Western region. Thank you very much, and I want to thank Mr. MATIANG'I here for sparing his time, and the CSs who managed to come here, and also members of parliament that spared time to be with us here. We had apologies from our 2 colleagues, and we had to get involved as governors because to avoid duplication. Kera is there, Kura is there. We undertake some projects and we find that sometimes there is duplication. Now with the clear set out, because now we have all projects in the region have been tabulated. As governors, we are able to go through them so that when we plan ours, we do not duplicate. Thank you very much for the day.
In attendance on the very meeting was also CS for Matters Interior, CS Fred MATIANG'I, of course, where he reiterated on the importance of local contractors delivering. Remember, there's been a tussle across different counties on who exactly is to touch their hands or to put their hands on the construction of different roads. In this case now, Western Kenya, and as you have heard right there, mentioning of the Kura and Kera and people who are contracted to work on different roads across the country. So this is what he had to say in terms of ensuring that the people or the local contractors that are contracted to work on these particular roads do what what is expected of them. A series of, roads that have not been in the best of state, a majority of them being worked on, but then in due time or in a certain time or a certain duration, then they go back to the dilapidated state that they were in, begging the question as to how legit these contractors are, and in as much as so much so of money has been poured to us, ensuring that these roads are made in the best way for the sake of the people. So let's listen into what CS MATIANG'I had to say over the same.
Cabinet, honorable members of parliament and colleagues from the various departments of government. I'm grateful, and on behalf of my colleagues, both those who are here and those who left slightly earlier because they had other responsibilities, we had apologies from CS MACHARIA and the CS Kawe who are on duty elsewhere, but their departments have been here, and the CS Munyes, because the granite factory in the western region is a very important aspect of what you have discussed this morning. I want to say this in summary. I think we've had a good meeting. I thank the leaders for coming along. It's a morning well spent. We are focused on a number of things. It is true, as the leaders say, that in some areas in the western region of our country, work has started. I mean, the contractor has moved to Kakamega airstrip from 5th of June. Work has started on some of the roads. But it's also fair, and on this particular one, I have to be very frank and sincere to the public that it is fair that we are actually reassigning up to nearly 30% of the road projects in the western region. Why? Because some contractors who were identified earlier either abandoned the contracts on the way because they did not have sufficient capacity, or there are challenges of one kind or the other. Funds are no longer the excuse, because it is true the Exchequer, our national treasury, released over 30 billion shillings in the last 2 weeks alone to pay up pending bills in particularly the road construction sector. We had the bond through which we have gotten resources. The truth of the matter is this, that some of our local contractors, and this just doesn't affect the western part of our country, it affects virtually most of our country. And we have been moving around and come across cases where the contractors are just basically playing games, or some of them are coming from that old school where they believed in navigating their way around by either bribing public officials or corrupting people in government and hoping that that is the way to proceed and survive. I have been telling these leaders that I was in Nyandarua on Monday, where a contractor took up an assignment to do 4.5 kilometers of a road about 4 years ago. I mean, honestly, just tell me how you can do 4.5.
Kenya failed to win the first round of seat. 8 votes out of 133 member states required. Nairobi will now face off with Djibouti for a runoff today for another round as the UN Non-Permanent Secretary Council seat. Now, Kenya scored 113 votes against Djibouti's 78, forcing it into a second round of voting. If none of the two countries are able to garner 120 votes, they will go for a third round. Kenya has intensified her campaign ahead of the vote. constituency have taken streets to who are blaming the area member of parliament for the situation and are now vowed to continue with the protest till the conditions change.
Barabara ni mbaya, mlango ya GISHU'S.
Tunataka kueleza Mishra mkate na sanitizer apeleke kwa familia yake. Sisi tunataka barabara, sisi tunataka maji, sisi tunataka stima.
Tangu nizaliwe mimi nimeona hii barabara ikikuwa hivi. Tuko na viongozi na hao viongozi watusaidii. Mbunge wetu Dr. Mishra hatumuoni.
Kwa kweli barabara ni mbaya. Tunaomba Mheshimiwa Mishra kama unatusikia na wahusika wakuu wa hii barabara. Hatutaki kujua kama ni national, hatutaki kujua kama ni county.
We voted for you Mishra. So what we demand is work. Tulikuchagua wewe ni mfanyikazi wetu. So isikuwe nikaa tunakubegu tufanyie what we elected you to do.
Elsewhere, in a bid to fulfill the 300 hospital bed capacity directive by the president, Uasin Gishu County government has received 24 beds donated by the Rift Valley Technical Institute. Speaking during the handover ceremony, Area Governor Jackson Madago says his government intends to support the Juakali sector through the entire process of fulfilling the directive.
It's very strong. If we can grow this sector, have our young people who have trained in all our TTIs manufacturing some of the items we need, we shall actually saving this country a lot of foreign exchange that we would have spent importing what we can manufacture in the Juakali here in Eldridge, so that we stop importing things like beds, spending up to 60,000 to buy one medical bed that could have been manufactured by a TVET student in a local shopping center here in the county. And you see, all these initiatives must tie very well with the government's, both national government and county government's agenda.
Now, school-going children in Homa Bay County are now engaging in fishing in Lake Victoria due to lack of digital gadgets that aid in learning as they stay at home. This has greatly affected the government's plan in steering e-learning as schools are closed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Area leaders are now urging the government to come up with innovative community-based ways by recruiting retired teachers to assist the school-going children in their studies through this pandemic period.
Parents are not able. Some of the parents don't even have a phone, leave alone the phone that they can use to go digital, leave alone a television. They don't have. These are the realities of rural life. So I would want to encourage the Minister for Education to think of innovative ways that are community-based. And a community-based innovative way would be one, of course, through radio. Some parents have, some don't have.
We are having an alarming case of children who have gone to assist their parents in doing their daily chores. Some have gone for fishing, some in their family small businesses because they can't access education. And we think this is making them very vulnerable.
Education for girl child. I think as a mother, I would say that education on girl child and prevention of abuse and all that we are talking about, it starts from the house. From the family level, then it escalates.
Now, a section of seafarers in Mombasa have expressed concern over poor pay and exploitation in the maritime industry. Led by Hassan Kombo Ismail, disgruntled seafarers accused their union of failing to improve their lot over the years. They accused ship owners and shipping companies of floating labor laws and underpaying them.
chama chetu hakina nguvu kwa sababu wale viongozi wako pale ndani ni wadhaifu. Matajiri wamewakamata na hawezi kusaidia chochote. Ukiangalia kuna meli ziko hapa kwetu ambazo zina run Kenya. Mombasa zinakuja. Hizo meli unakuta Mkenya anapata $300. Mromania wa mzungu katika meli moja hiyo hiyo anachukua $1,500 na kasi ni moja. Ni masikitiko makubwa sana. Ndio maana sisi tumekuja hapa kusema shida zetu ili tupate mfumo mafanikio na serikali ituje itukumbuke na chama cha KOTU kupitia kwa Atol aje Mombasa aje asikize mabaharia wanasema nini. Kilio chao aitishe mkutano mkubwa wa mabaharia sababu kuna shida katika makubuni hapa, kuna magodi father wanatunyanyasa. KMA pia haitusikilize sisi mabaharia. Imetutupa sana. Hata ikitokea masomo unasoma masomo kweli lakini upate kazi. Unasoma alafu baada ya masomo unakaa miaka 5 certificate expire.
The flower industry is on its recovery trail, with exports rising to 80% from 30%. Labour Cabinet Secretary Samuel Cherugui has noted that over 339,000 workers were employed directly by Flowers Farm across the country, with hundreds of them losing jobs and thousands others on unpaid leaves.
I'm very happy that we are now out of gloom and doom that we saw in the beginning of this pandemic. Floriculture in this country contributes over 120 billion shillings of our GDP. So it is a very important sector in terms of employment and in terms of wealth creation.
I must say the main
An arrest by the Ugandan police officers. Victor Ouma feared the torture that Kenyan fishermen have been going through in the hands of the Ugandan authorities. The residents are now calling on the national government to intervene.
Kila mara wanakuja wanashika watu wetu wanapeleka Uganda, na tuko hapa na maaskari wa Kenya Marini ambao wanakuja kila mara wanatuandisha kwa wavuvi wote pesa ya kwamba wanaenda kutulinda baharini, lakini kazi hiyo hawafanyi. MP wetu Mdenyo na MCA Evans Atuti kama waka area hii ya Gengananguva wasikie mambo haya, sisi hatutaendelea kuteswa hivi.
Such an unfortunate occurrence, something that has been going on for the longest of time. Still a key question as to how best, first of all, we are manning our waters as the East African community, as Africa at large, and how best we are also dealing with the aspect of our very own borders when you find that people cannot cross over from one country to another because of the kind of torture that is experienced there. Some of them being mated with insults and allegations of having conducted negative stuff on their neighboring countries. So I think this is a conversation that should be on He says that he is not going to relent in terms of ensuring that they are able to host transport CS. And Mohammed Ali, like I said, spoke earlier on at the Parliament buildings. If we have that clip, then we can proceed to listen in to what these members of Parliament had to say.
The road network in this country requires a lot of money. And as you are aware, the money is not allocated by CS MACHARIA. Whatever economy is going through is affecting every ministry. So to allege that the CS MACHARIA is responsible for an incomplete project or stalled project, that is a lie.
So we do not want to come and bring issues that are not real on the floor of the House. We want to be real. I didn't meet him. I just wrote him a message, and work is being done in my constituency. Thank you very much.
Ensure that Northern Kenya is connected, and we have about it. The issue of this petition to censor or for you to be removed from office, it's quite unfortunate, and we want you to tell you that we are in support of you. Please concentrate with the roads, especially Northern Kenya. People of Northern Kenya are very happy. Finish the work, and we are telling our colleagues, please stop side shows. Thank you.
Kupitia ile shirika la meli la MSC na tukapigana vita vikubwa ndani hapa, na nawashukuru wabunge wengi walisimama na sisi na tukashinda vita vile. Leo hii hakuna hata mfanyikazi mmoja wa bandari ambaye amefutwa kazi, kwa sababu tuliambiwa katika wafanyikazi 7,000 wa bandari 3,000 watapelekwa nyumbani ubinafsishaji ukifanyika, na tunashukuru hilo jambo halikufanyika, na leo wafanyikazi wote wa bandari wako katika kazi zao kama kawaida.
Mimi kama mtu wa kutoka Mombasa Mapwani, nataka sana watu wetu waweze kufanya kazi zao na waweze kuendelea na ajira zao ambazo walikuwa wakifanya. Na kwa sababu hiyo sitotaka ya kwamba ati kama ule mswada ambao mwenzetu pengine aliutoa tuweze kuweka sign. Ni mswada ambao ulizungumzia mambo mengine ambayo sisi pia kama wajumbe wa Pwani tulishangaa. Mtu anasema waziri ameiba pesa fulani, waziri amechukua pesa fulani, na wewe hata mjumbe ukiulizwa to substantiate.
Battle is on and it will not be stopped. It is not about MACHARIA. It is about the good people of the Republic of Kenya. Every CS, members of parliament, senators, MCAs must be accountable for the money that they are given by the government to help the people. The issue about Naivasha can for sure tell you now who I'm dealing with. MACHARIA ni kijana wa mkono, na tutataja majina ya wenye ardhi ya Naivasha. Tutataja majina ya wale ambao wamechukua rasilimali ya wapwani kwa kimabavu. Tutataja watu wale wote ambao katika bandari ya Pwani wameweza kujigawia sehemu. Tutamention all the birds in the port.
And now let's take a look at some bit of sports. Davis Luiz produced a catalogue of errors in a torrid 25 minutes cameo